my computer. I'm gonna go to live Facebook, do the interview, have some fun.
Love it.
How's your wife doing?
My wife is doing so well. We're actually writing a book together right now. We're writing the third installment of the Way of the Cobra franchise, which is called Cobra Couples, and we're writing it together.
Oh, I'll interview the both of you. I love
Yeah,
that. My radio show is doing very well, and
great.
Joshua's going for his next world championship at the Arnold Internet.
I love that guy. He's great.
All right, so you guys, we are going to be going live right here with the one and only Mr. Sean Kanan. I think we are in fact, wait a second, wait for it. We are in fact live, and there you are. All right, you're on my Facebook. Hey, everybody, in case you don't recognize the face of the man that I'm with and you don't watch television, I think I had a crush on him, but I never like to say that in person.
Oh, stop.
I did when I was little, okay, that's
Oh, my God.
All right, tell everybody a little bit about the one and only Mr. Sean Kanan.
Well, what can I tell you? Right now, I currently star on The Bold and the Beautiful, which is the most watched daytime drama in the world, seen in over 40 countries. Also on Cobra Kai as Mike Barnes. I'm an author. I've written 4 books. My last 2 are Way the Cobra and Welcome to the Kumite, and they're personal development books. I'm a coach, a motivational speaker. You know, we have so much in common, Forbes. We really do many of the same things. And I love the fact that you invited me to do this. And it's so gracious of you, and it's an honor. And, you know, I think we both have that internal passion we figured some things out, and we want to pass them on to other people. And
It's
and
a
I think
beautiful
that's,
way to say that. We figured some things out and we want to pass it along.
yeah.
You
I
always
think
wanted to be an actor when you were little? That was one of the things?
so I talk about this in my book. The reason I became an actor initially was I was terribly, terribly bullied when I was a kid. I was like one of 5 Jewish kids in a pretty hard scrabbled Western Pennsylvania steel town. I used to go into the movie theater because it was my oasis of calm. You know, it was dark, no one could see me. And my first mentors were Obi-Wan Kenobi and Clint Eastwood as the outlaw Josie Wales and Sylvester Stallone as Rocky. And besides being my earliest mentors, I was mesmerized with the spellbinding effect of cinema, you know, the 30-foot tall screen. And I think even though I didn't know it at the time, that planted the seeds for me to want to become an actor, because I saw the incredible power, the communicative power that film had. And years later, as I was writing Way of the Cobra, I realized I didn't go into acting for a lot of the reasons I thought I did. I really got into acting because I wanted to inspire people. And now, years later, acting is just one conduit to doing that. My coaching, speaking, and my writing are all other avenues to do that. So, long-winded answer. I hope it.
No, you're my brother from another mother. Dude, I was a very awkward, ugly little girl who spent most of my time watching movies. And as someone asked me recently, my mentors were Jane Fonda and Rosalind Russell and Mae West and all the women that I ever saw. Yeah. And I lived in rom-coms. In my mind, when Jane Fonda and Robert Redford are going barefoot in the park, I'm right there with them.
Oh, wow. I mean, that's just it, though. I mean, I think that film, when it's really good, shows us the very best of who we can be. I mean, I find that it has a very aspirational quality to it. You know, so many incredible cinematic moments you can see again and again, and they resonate every time because the film doesn't change, but the eyes with which we watch it change as we become different people. It's the same reason why every time somebody watches, you know, the final scene in The Karate Kid or Rocky, it's got that visceral, you know, emotional thing that wells up inside of us because it touches something in our soul. And for me, that was one of the things I fell in love with movies and frequently television, because television has gotten better and better and better over the years. You know, some of the very best stuff out there is on television now.
Oh, I binge watched Outlander and just went along.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
great.
But I will tell you, this is where we have a similar journey, but we don't, because my first film, Splatter University, if you watch the end, I get killed. If you watch your Karate Kid, you get inspired. So I may have made a wrong choice there.
process.
All right. Well, you know what? But so the other parallel is the martial arts. I got mugged in New York, in Los Angeles in the 80s, and that led me to my first dojo. No, not a bad thing, a horrible thing, but I would never have gotten into a dojo. And as committed as I was, 4 years of Taekwondo, then Aikido, then Wing Chun, and I still practice and I love the art. What was your beginning in martial arts?
My beginning of martial arts, I was around 15 years old, and I went into a Shotokan dojo, and I fell in love with it. And I've been studying martial arts off and on most of my life. I'd like to joke that I can get my ass kicked in 5 different styles. Right now, I'm currently training with Master Jun Chong and his son Young in Beverly Hills, training Taekwondo. And then my home dojo is in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. It's the Genbukai Karate Dojo. So yeah, I'm still in it after all these years.
Well, I'm very proud and happy to hear that. And I think for me, I did love movies so much. Karate Kid is certainly one of my favorites, the lessons there, and having been a karate person myself.
Right.
Um, Way of the Cobra. Wow, it comes back. I'm
Yeah.
literally like watching you guys going, this is like the coolest full circle thing.
Yeah.
How does it feel? How did that, when you got that call, what was your reaction?
I was ecstatic. One of the things that I don't want to say bothered me, but the character I played in Karate Kid 3 was such a unidimensional thug, and I got this role because I was a young, good-looking guy with charisma, but I had just started acting. And one of not even a regret, but I wish that I had been, a much more seasoned actor when I got the role. And you just don't expect that 35 years later, you're going to get another bite at the apple. And I had the opportunity to go back and play the role again, with a lot of nuance and as an actor that has now worked for 35 years, that's done over 1,000 episodes of television, and it was great.
Well, it's really fun to watch. I binge watched it all, and I'm so proud of you guys. And I just think it's totally fun. And then for those of you watching, one of the ways that we're connected, which is obscene and bizarre and wonderful, is this beautiful book called Success Factor X. There's Mr. Sean's name. And if you go here, I think I've got my little tab. Oh my God, look who's in your book.
Look at that beautiful lady.
You're like, wait a second, really?
Yeah.
I know. This was such a shock. I remember the moment when this book arrived at my doorstep, because I'd met Jill, did my interview, and I was like, yeah, it's a nice little interview. Guys, this is like the coolest coffee table book. And I like to say that I'm right underneath Tony Robbins, which don't tell his wife, but is a fun.
Right. I stepped on your joke. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I know
it's
better.
fine. By the way, who are you under in the book? Do you know? Let's look up here and
Who
say.
am I under?
Don't tell your wife. But this was a really special project, and as my audience is growing here on Facebook, they're loving this. Yeah. One of the reasons that we're here tonight is that you guys all know how much I just love acting, and it's just, I stopped stage acting. It was quite a role. I've worked on Broadway, did a lot of theater, done a world premiere, have these 2 babies, and you can't really grow your family on a stage actor's salary. And it wasn't really clicking in movies and television as I wanted it to. So I stepped aside for a while. And I keep dipping my toe in, and I just love it. And then I'm watching not only does Sean become this motivational speaker, which I'm very proud and excited to read what he's doing, and a coach, but then he happened to put out that he was doing an acting workshop. And I now, I haven't studied acting in a long time. Milton Casales was one of my last teachers. I was with Herbert Berghoff. I was with, who's Herbert Berghoff's wife? Ida, oh my God.
Uda Hagen.
Thank you very much. I'm thinking Ida Uda. In New York City, I used to walk upstairs, in the middle of wherever that was on the West Side, HB Studios, because I loved it. Catherine Gately, Will Esper. I am a wildly well-trained actress, and I love it. And when you said that you were doing this, I thought, I have a feeling you're going to come from it from a different place. So one of the reasons that we're talking tonight, and I want to invite all of you to join us, is that he is doing a training on this Sunday from 2 to 4, which is Pacific time. So for some of you, it's during Pitch Secrets Masterclass, but you know what? I think you should come and watch him. I really do. because really one of a kind, amazing human being. And I'm excited to see what he teaches on every level.
Thank you. Yeah, people can they can DM me on Instagram if they want to register. It's $49, and I'll send you a PayPal invoice. I have space still available, or you can go to my website, which is waythecobra.com.
Yeah. Array is like one of my girls in Atlanta. She's like, I went to HB Studios. We have Sean, we've got the craziest, most beautiful group of people in our world. So what was the impetus behind teaching this particular training?
I've got a unique perspective because I'm an Emmy award-winning producer and an Emmy-nominated actor. So I work on both sides of the camera. And, it occurred to me that actors waste so much time based on either bad advice they get about acting technique or bad advice they get about the business of acting. Look, to be successful as an actor, you have to have two things. You have to have acting technique, but you also have to understand that acting is a business. And if you understand one without the other, it's going to cause a lot of frustration in spinning your wheels. And so what I do in this seminar is the first half is talking about acting technique. And I'm a kind of simple meat and potatoes guy when it comes to acting. I believe that acting, you have your super objective. What is your character fighting for in the overall script? And then every scene has three components. It's the goal, the obstacles keeping you from achieving your goal, and the actions that you take to get the goal. I go through a lot of the different tools that you need. I talk a lot about things that I talk about in my other non-acting seminars because I believe everything's holistic. And one of the most important things that you can do to become a better actor is to become a more self-aware human being. I tell everybody, do you know how you become an interesting actor? By becoming an interesting human being. How do you become an interesting human being? By being an interested human being, by being curious. And, when you develop that self-awareness, see, the problem with a lot of young actors is they haven't had the life experience to really know who they are. And you get that after the world's kind of knocked you around a little bit. But there are shortcuts and ways that you can access a lot of that information more quickly. That's a lot of what I do. The second half is talking about the business of acting. One of the biggest problems that young actors have or new actors have is they don't have any material that they can show anyone. And that's a huge obstacle. And I teach people how they can build a reel when they don't have anything yet and have something that they can show the prospective buyers, the casting directors, the producers, the directors.
I love that. Do you have insight into this whole new world of I don't need to meet you in my office to send in a tape?
Yeah, I'm actually a fan of it. And I'll tell you why. Because you can put your absolute best foot forward. If you don't like the audition that you just recorded, you can record it again. I think it takes a lot of the anxiety away from walking into a casting director's office. And it saves actors an enormous amount of time. When I first came out to Hollywood, it was in 1987. And I mean, you're driving all over the city for auditions. And I tell actors, this is an important thing. You have to learn not to look at getting the role as success and looking at not getting the role as failure. Mm-hmm. Because if you do that, I'm statistically in probably the top 5% of successful working actors. And I still fail probably 95% of the time. Fail. But I don't look at it as a failure when I don't get the job. You have to learn to reframe that into a story that's empowering. Maybe I had the chance to audition for a casting director who didn't know who I was. Maybe I had the chance to prepare for a role that's sort of outside of my wheelhouse. So you have to look at it as a process. And I'm a huge proponent of if you want results, ignore them. Build a bulletproof process for anything. for acting, for relationships, for anything. I'll give you an example, Forbes. So I'm going to guess that you and I probably drive a car 99.5% the same way. You unlock the car, you sit down, you put the safety belt on, you put an address in the navigation system if you need to, you check the mirrors, you throw it in reverse, you check again, you throw it in drive, you obey the traffic lights and the street signs, and you expect to get to your destination. You don't drive like this going, oh my God, I hope I make it, I hope I make it. The reason is you've built a bulletproof process for driving. You know how to do it and you don't worry about the results. So if you can build a bulletproof process, apply it effectively, apply it consistently, and look at how it's working, doing self-diagnostics, tweaking what's not working, and bringing in new habits to improve the system. You don't have to worry about the results. They will come. They may not come exactly when you want. They may not come looking exactly how you imagine them in your head, but you will get results. And part of the process of an actor is that if you train, if you learn, if you commit to the audition process as part of your job, not a zero-sum game of either I get the role and succeed or I don't get the role and I fail. And you look at it like that, you will begin to book roles. But you have to look at the process as what's important, not the result of getting a job.
Do you think that we live in a very rarefied space? Most entrepreneurs don't audition for a job every day. Every day. I mean, there were times I would get, and I worked all the time as well, which is interesting, but I would also focus on the 4 that I didn't get that day. And sometimes you do.
Right.
And, but entrepreneurs, I don't know if they really understand this. So I'm excited to see how you meld that process that you learned.
I think with entrepreneurs, they are used to having a lot of rejection. Rejection is a part of being an entrepreneur. It's you against the world. You're going out there with an idea, with a concept, and building a business. And success is very, very rarely a straight vertical ascent. It's a lot more like going up steps, and sometimes you go backwards. Okay. And I think that that's something, again, that, if you stay in the process, even as an entrepreneur, I think the success comes. I've seen it in my own life, not just in my acting career, but in other aspects of my life too. And that's the holistic thing I'm talking about. A lot of what I'm going to teach that is ostensibly about acting and the business of acting can be applied to other areas of your life.
I think that's just genius. I mean, what I love about you, and I really do love this, is that I always took the word business to heart. I don't know why I got that at the very beginning, but it does say show business. And I always had, whether it was infomercials, I always made a living with the camera pointing this way. It wasn't always acting. And I probably made one of the best livings ever. I generated over $2.5 billion in sales. Very good at that side of it. But I'm excited to see how to re-tie those things together. And also, what skills do you think that you acquire as an actor? Because I'm doing a speaker training, by the way, and I'm so excited because I'm teaching vocal technique and stage mastery and physical. I don't do that as an entrepreneur ever. So this is a very exciting thing. How has all of that as an actor informed you as a businessman?
I'm also a huge proponent of staying in the present. Okay. It's critical as an actor to be working moment to moment. Okay. You're not just waiting for someone to finish their line so it's your turn to speak. Some of the most interesting moments in film and television and on stage occur when an actor isn't speaking. You have to learn to become a very good listener, an active listener. And that applies not only to acting, but to life. You also, as an actor, need to learn to become an amateur psychologist. You have to truly understand human nature in others. But before you can understand it in others, you have to understand it in yourself. And when you do that, when you have a strong sense of self-awareness coupled with confidence and an understanding of the human condition, you can be dropped into any situation, whether it's a boardroom or it's a stage or anything. And you've got a better than average chance of doing well.
Where'd your confidence come from? As a kid, you were bullied. How did you get to this stage?
You know, it's funny. In life, when we fear the slings and arrows of the outside world, bullying, things like that, we build armor around ourselves to protect ourselves. And I got very good at building armor. As an actor, it's incumbent that you learn to strip off that armor, to show your vulnerability, to take a good, hard, unflinching look at who you are. And I think the combination of having to do that as an actor over many years, and I think the process of getting sober, forcing me to really deconstruct myself and look at myself and like myself on the other side, has given me a lot of the confidence that at least people perceive that I have.
When did that transition happen?
Which one?
The sobriety?
Sobriety. Um, I had, I had struggled with alcohol for a long time. I was able to have very long periods of not drinking, but they were those white knuckle deals, you know?
Right.
And I guess I really was able to start making a change in the last 5 years. You know, right when I turned 50 years old, and I talk about this in the sequel to Way of the Cobra, which is called Welcome to the Kumite. I got a star on the Palm Springs Walk of Fame, and the mayor spoke, and there was a lot of photos and this and that. And when the smoke cleared, I kind of felt like a fraud. I had definitely achieved a fair amount in my life, but I also could feel myself rapidly slipping into mediocrity because I knew what I was capable of, and there was a big chasm between what I could do and the way I was living my life. And I realized that if I didn't get a hold of this, that it was going to break me, not because it was going to break me because I'd never reached my potential. And I think that's one of the saddest things there is. And I turned it over. I turned it over to God. I accepted the fact that it was something that, I couldn't do on my own. And it was lifted from me. And since I got sober, my life has changed 180 degrees.
It's funny. I noticed that. What year was this book done? Our book that we did?
Your book? That book?
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't
I'm
know.
going to 2019, which is how many years ago?
Yeah,
now?
about 5 years ago, right?
Yeah, because I had really gotten to know you. I mean, I knew of you, but kind of through the book, and we did some podcasts together because I
Yeah.
noticed something's changed.
Mm.
You are way more philosophical. You have an even keel. No, it's really wonderful. I'm going to tell you, I went through a similar moment, I think, because this woman at the nail salon yesterday said to me, after we talked, she's like, how did you get so confident? I was like, well, let's see. I went through all this shit in my life. And then I spent the last 3 years or through COVID teaching 40 to 60 hours a week. So I'm no longer a fraud of any kind. And it's funny, not that I ever was, but I know what
No,
you're
but
feeling.
we all listen. I say Forbes. I say that in my book too. I say, you know what? You think you're a fraud? Listen, we all think we're a fraud sometimes. Okay. Your mom didn't tell you she loved you enough. Your daddy used to belittle you in front of his friends. You know what? Your mom and dad don't go to my dojo. Okay. You need to take responsibility for you. And it sounds like you have done exactly that. And I've done exactly that. And
Yeah.
the coaching, isn't it amazing how life is reciprocal, because people are paying us to coach, and really what they don't know is they're helping us become better people. I learned so much from my students,
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
they have all helped me become a better man. And I take that and pass that on to the other people I work with.
I'm so excited that I reached out to you. And it was so funny
Oh,
because
so am I.
I'm overjoyed. I'm overjoyed about your journey. I'm overjoyed talking to you now. I think the last time I spoke to you really was during your TV series that you produced and starred in
Studio
called,
City. Yeah, Studio City.
yeah, great job. But you are very different. It's fascinating. You look different. You look very substantial and centered. And I get that energy and I feel that as I am as a person. It's like, wow, maybe that's the evolution. Not getting older, but getting better, which some days is challenging.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and I've become a much better actor because of it. I mean, it's diff. If you don't have a level of self awareness and gravitas in your life, how do you bring it to your work? The only thing you can do is kind of fake it, and faking it will never be authentic, which is what you want to bring to your acting work. But when you have it as a part of who you are, it's much easier to transmit it.
What a one! You just made my whole night. You did, I feel like I had such a gift, and it was because I chose to reach out.
Well, good. So okay, so you're gonna do my I'm gonna do my acting seminar one-on-one for you. We're gonna do it just you and I.
This is gonna be
Okay.
great. So here's the thing, you guys, you need to come on, and if you cannot attend on Sunday, we're gonna figure out another time. It's not the only time that Sean's gonna be doing this. Right. So for everyone listening, if you're not in my Pitch Secrets on Sunday, this is where you want to be. And if you need to choose, don't. Sean will make it available. We're going to maybe do a class that we do for ourselves. How many people do you normally like to have in your class?
I usually cap it around 40 or so, but I could do a bigger one. I mean, it's okay. Cool. I mean,
well, I'm going to get to experience this. Sean's offered me a very special thing for being a friend and for being a fan and just, supporting him and all that he's doing. And I love doing that. And I love his wife and his mission, the mission. I
thought you were going to say mistress. It sounded like you said.
Mistress is doing good too. Don't tell Michelle. Oh God. On public television, now we're in trouble. Tomorrow morning, the podcast, Sean Kanan.
Right.
Oh my God.
Sure.
And by the way, Way of the Cobra is coming out again. Yes, there's another season.
Are you talking about Cobra Kai?
Cobra Kai, yeah, sorry.
Cobra Kai, yes, Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai is back in production for the 6th season.
It's funny, I just saw
Martin Kove?
Martin Kove, yes, I knew his name. Martin Kove, who stars with his son in a very cool movie.
Yeah.
They screened it out here in Tampa, which was just delightful. I got to hang out with him and spend some time with him.
Yeah,
I gave him a cookie for being so bad to you guys. Just, ooh, such a bad guy. But I'm excited. I'm literally addicted to the show. So you guys, the deal is, one more time, let's just reiterate how do we
one more time. If you would like to participate in my seminar, Acting in the Business of Acting, this Sunday, January 14th, from 2 to 4 p.m. Pacific time, please reach out to me on Instagram and DM me, and I'll be able to set you up with that. Or you can go to wayofthecobra.com and register there.
And there you have it, folks. Sean, thank you so very much. Have a wonderful last rest of your night.
Okay. I look forward to talking with you again.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.